enough and don't go too fast. And, because try to drive the plane home, but it else.
Your start now.
You want to start now? You ready? Okay. 3 minutes is what you have.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna start my first speech. First of all, according to the Taiwanese government budget, the total expenditure in 2022 is projected to be around $3.1 trillion NT dollars. Implementing a UBI program in Taiwan would cost at least 2.2 trillion NT dollars, which is equivalent to more than 70% of the government's total expenditure. This is simply not a sustainable cost for the government, and it would have to either cut other essential services or raise taxes to pay for it. Such a massive burden on the government's budget would not only hurt the government, but also have adverse effects on the economy as a whole. Our second argument is that the UBI may not address the root causes of poverty in Taiwan. While poverty is undoubtedly a problem that needs to be addressed, UBI may not be the most effective way to do it. Taiwan's poverty rate has been declining over the years, and the government has already implemented several policies to alleviate poverty. One example is the workfare program, which provides financial incentives for people to work. By contrast, UBI could lead to disincentives for people to work or even lead to inflation. Because when people get more money and then the prices will go up and will cause inflation and will harm the whole economy. And in a country like Taiwan, where labor shortages are already a significant issue, UBI could exacerbate this problem. Our third argument is that UBI may not be effective in reducing income inequality. While the idea of giving everyone the same amount of money regardless of their income level may sound appealing, it could actually widen the income gap. The wealthy will receive the same amount of money as the poor, and in turn, they may use the money to invest and generate even more income. The poor, on the other hand, use the money to fulfill their basic needs and not have the resources to generate more income or apply to any new jobs. This could create a vicious cycle of income inequality rather than reducing it. In conclusion, while the idea of UBI may seem appealing, its implementation in Taiwan will not be a wise decision. The costs will be too high, and that the benefits will not be substantial enough to justify those costs. Taiwan already has policies in place to alleviate poverty, and UBI may not address the root causes of poverty in the country. Additionally, UBI may not be effective in reducing income inequality and could even widen the gap. For these reasons, we urge you to vote against the implementation of UBI in Taiwan.
Ready? Time starts now.
Good morning, honorable judges and debaters. We are on the pro side. Today, we are going to discuss the benefits of implementing unconditional basic income in Taiwan. UBI is a government policy that provides every citizen with a guaranteed income regardless of their employment status. This policy has been gaining attention around the world as a way to address many of the economy and social problems that exist in modern societies. In order to keep up with the pace of society, we strongly agree that Taiwan should enact UBI. Contention 1. UBI can reduce poverty. First, according to a recent report by the Taiwan Institute of Economy Research, poverty rates in Taiwan have been steadily increasing in recent years. This can strongly prove that more and more people are facing poverty problems. International Labour Organization also mentioned that. To this, UBI can provide a much-needed safety net for the most disadvantaged members of society. UBI can help them to get rid of the difficulties caused by poverty. There is some good feedbacks from other countries which already implement UBI. For example, the US and India are doing a study conducted by the Brazilian Basic Income Earth Network. It examined the impact of the UBI program on the poverty rate in a small Brazilian town and found that the poverty rate dropped by 30% after the program was implemented. This can prove that UBI can truly reduce poverty. Contention 2. UBI can solve the problems of the welfare system in Taiwan. Another problem in Taiwan is that the welfare system can't take care of everyone. Let's talk about the problems with the welfare systems. First, the welfare system provides the most resources for elders, which is not favorable to the young people. According to a survey from Department of Social Welfare, National Zhongzhen University, they found out that there are 50.8% 90% of the welfare was given to the elders, and there was only 5.6% of welfare was given for the young people. Second, the social welfare system only gives subsidies to special groups with special status, which as low-income households. This can cause serious problems. For example, the jobs of art workers are unstable, but there is no welfare system that could protect them. Some people are poor, but they have land registers in their name. They can qualify as low-income household, but they are still poor, and they are unable to burden their basic expense in their daily life. Contention 3. UBI can give the people who are unemployment a guarantee. According to a thesis from the Institute of Political Sciences, National Taiwan University, 2020, it mentioned that today's society, as the development of technology is more advanced, the automation of many industries means that we can produce more goods and services with less human resources. Many Taiwanese people are facing a problem of unemployment and underpaid. And the study also mentioned underpaid can cause overwork. According to a research by the McKinsey Global Institute, the technology-based industry could displace as many as 800 million workers worldwide by 2030. To this, UBI can give these people a chance to participate in relevant training and find their jobs without worrying about their lives. UBI gives everyone an income, so that people do not need to work overtime for a salary. Therefore, they can spend more time taking care of their families. Technology has evolved even further in smart automation. Thank you.
It's not a?
So now,
No.
maybe for us,
So that the amount is not
4 minutes, yeah, yes, 4 minutes.
Okay. So this is the course final 3 minutes.
I'll ask you a question. You said that, is it true that you said elders get more welfare than poor people?
No, it's not poor people, it's young people.
Okay, young people, okay. But do you agree, or maybe do you ever think of that, when elders get welfare, it's because the elder people need more money to help them?
And the young people and some disadvantaged people, they need money too. But the welfare system only protects elder people more than the younger people. And you said that UBI can't solve the problem of poverty. But what is a better plans to solve the poverty?
The welfare system in Taiwan is already improving the poverty rates in Taiwan. So it proves that
Do you
welfare
have any
system.
evidence to show that the welfare system already solved the Taiwan's poverty problems?
Okay, can I ask a question?
So you didn't answer my question. You have no evidence to prove me that the welfare system will solve the poverty in Taiwan, right?
Okay, but if you give UBI, if you implement UBI in Taiwan, it's only $10,000, but it's only $10,000 per person, right? If it's true, how can you make sure that it's enough for them to live?
I didn't say that if I enact UBI in Taiwan, it is only 10,000% of Taiwan will be richer. I didn't say that. I didn't
No, I'm
answer
not saying
that.
like 10%. I'm saying like $10,000 in Taiwan because that is the most average.
We gave some good example from the US. That's not in Taiwan.
But how can you prove that examples in US or Brazil will also work in Taiwan? It's because you need to think of the
We didn't
condition.
mention that the other country feedbacks will work in Taiwan as the same. But that is we can know that how the UBI works in other countries, and we can know the UBI better.
But it's not the same condition.
Sorry, this is my question to ask your problem. Ask your question. How can you solve the problems of the welfare system without enacting UBI if there have some errors in our welfare systems?
Okay, so that again.
How can you solve the problems of the welfare system in Taiwan without enacting UBI? Well, some welfare system in Taiwan have some burden and have some problems.
It's true that welfare system has some problems, but UBI has a better problem. But so the problem with
In fact, UBI improve some problem.
Right, guys, thank you.
Time is up. So, 3 and 4. The next.
Okay, so first I'm going to defend our argument that the welfare system in Taiwan is actually working. So the poverty rate in Taiwan right now is currently only 1.3%, which is considered very low compared to other countries. In other words, around 99% of people in Taiwan does not face the problem of poverty, which suggests that the poverty system and welfare system in Taiwan is actually working very well. And also, the welfare system can currently help those poverty people by giving them 19,000 new Taiwanese dollars, while UBI can only support them with 10,000 new Taiwanese dollars. But considering that UBI costs $2.2 trillion a month, it is not very sustainable policy to maintain. So we don't want to give them 10,000 new Taiwanese dollars, but cancel their 19,000 new Taiwanese dollars. That will be harming those poverty people. And the opponents mentioned an argument that automation may cause people to lose their jobs, but however, it is important to recognize that AI is rapidly advancing and automating certain tasks, but it also creates new job opportunities. In fact, a recent study by the World Economic Forum found that by 2025, the growth in new jobs created by AI will outweigh the jobs lost to automation, which means automation actually will not cause people to lose their job opportunities, but instead they help those poverty people to have more working opportunities. And lastly, our opponents have been using the examples and evidence from other countries, but however, our debate question is UBI in Taiwan, so I don't think those evidence can really help to support their arguments, since different countries have a lot of different conditions, like the economic or the culture or the population. So there are many different factors that we can control, and we won't be able to know if their evidence will be true. To this extent, I think they need to prove more evidence in order to support their argument. Thank you.
This is our rebuttal speech. And first, they mentioned about the inflation, but actually UBI might lead to the inflation, but with the development of technologies and automatizations, the same amount of human labor can produce some goods, research and service of offset and return the balance in the case of inflation. Companies are more likely to make profits, so they will be more willing to invest and hire more employees, which will help productivity gains, job creation, and sustainable growth, and bring about a friendly circle. And also, our opponents say that UBI is wasteful, it costs a lot, but they didn't prove the evidence that implementations of UBI would be it won't be feasible for Taiwan. And as we just said, UBI has many advantages. The government must pay the cost to support the good policy. And of course, there are low-income household succeeds and others succeeds in social system. In fact, the purpose of doing UBI is to solve the problems of social welfare not doing enough, such as it can't protect everyone. In addition to our constructive and moreover, they say that it hurts the economy if we implement the UBI, but actually it will help the economy. According to the funding experiments, people will have more active at work and lead to a better life. That is our rebuttal.
Ready for, you need some time to prep for the crossfire? You need some time? If you need some time, it's okay.
Okay, so my first question is that you mentioned again examples in other countries. So you mentioned example in Finland. So how does that prove the situation in Taiwan will be as same as Finland, and Taiwan can also use the policy of UBI?
But Taiwan didn't implement UBI, so we can't ensure that it will happen. But it will happen in Taiwan also. But we know in other countries it happened. So it has a big probabilities to happen in Taiwan too.
How do you know
And
there's
our question is how might UBI affect individuals' motivation to work and to work and dedication to the society?
So if people all people got like more money from UBI, so they may be lack of motivation since they will think like, oh, I got money if I didn't work hard. So they don't like really want to work hard, because whether they work hard or not, they got these basic incomes.
So that was your thinking. You think old people want work, right?
Yeah, but you can't prove people will work if they have UBI. You also don't have the evidence. Okay, so my next question is
yes,
that.
we have evidence.
No, it's my question. So, you mentioned that the statistic shows elder people get more welfare in Taiwan, but that does not mean the welfare is not working. It may be just simply that elder people need it more, and maybe elder people are facing the poverty more. So that does not mean Taiwan's welfare system is not working, considering the poverty rate in Taiwan is already very low.
What is the question?
So how does that prove your point? So how does this statistic prove your point?
What point?
Yeah, because this statistic only shows that elder people get more money from welfare, but that does not mean the welfare is not working. Maybe just elder people need it more. So how does this statistic help you to support the argument that Taiwan's welfare is not working?
We mentioned that now currently software is to the specific group and it's not for everyone. It can protect everyone.
Yeah,
Because
so
everyone has a right to get the money, but you just give the specific group.
Yeah, so I don't think you get my point. My point is a certain group of people get more welfare money. That does not mean the welfare money is not supporting the poverty and not helping the people, because maybe it's just that group of people facing the poverty more, and that's why they get the welfare system. They get more money from the welfare system. So that still not prove your point.
But Taiwan have a lot of self-welfare system, right? Have a lot of welfare system.
All right, thank you.
Can I have some prep time?
Oh, sure.
How much time do you need?
About
1 minute.
1 minute.
In summary, let us first discuss the impact of UBI on inflation, which is our best argument. The concept of UBI involves providing a fixed amount of money to every citizen, regardless of their unemployment status. That means that there will be an increase in demand for goods and services as people now have more disposable income. This increase in demand will lead to an increase in prices, which ultimately results in inflation. But the other group fails to prove that inflation doesn't weigh more than other advantages of UBI. If UBI is implemented in Taiwan, but also that inflation occurs, it will be harmless for the Taiwan's economy. Furthermore, UBI will also lead to an increase in production costs for business, as businesses will have now to pay their employees less than a UBI amount. They will need to increase the prices of their products and services to cover their costs. Again, this will lead to inflation. Moreover, it's important to note that UBI doesn't address the root cause of poverty, which is unemployment. While UBI alleviates poverty in the short term, it does not provide a sustainable solution to the problem of unemployment. In fact, it may even discourage people from seeking employment due to laziness, as they will be receiving a fixed amount of money regardless of their employment status. This could lead to a decrease in the overall productivity of the workforce and a slowdown in economic growth in Taiwan. On the other hand, the impact of automation on the workforce have been well documented. Advances in technology have led to displacement of workers in certain industries, and this trend is expected to continue in the future. However, automation also has the potential to increase productivity and reduce costs. Also, it can create more jobs, leading to lower prices for consumers too. In conclusion, while UBI may seem like an attractive or appealing solution to alleviate poverty and reduce inequality, it's not without its drawbacks. The potential for inflation and a decrease in workforce productivity are serious concerns that need to be taken into account. On the other hand, automation may lead to job displacement in certain industries, but it also has the potential to increase productivity and reduce costs, which will boost Taiwan's economy. Ultimately, we need to carefully consider the potential impact of both UBI and automation on society before implementing them in Taiwan. Thank you.
Mentioned that UBI can reduce poverty in Taiwan. Our opponent said that the welfare system is good enough for Taiwan, and they said that the welfare system can solve the poverty problem, but they didn't give any evidence to prove this. Our opponents were missing the point as we just said, because Taiwan hasn't implemented UBI, and today we are debating whether Taiwan should enact UBI in the future. If people just use simple numbers to delineate the background of Taiwan, then this debate is meaningless. To this, we are not comparing the background from other countries with Taiwan. We gave some good feedbacks and evidence from other countries which already implement UBI, such as US, India, and Finland. It can be useful to explain how UBI works. And in their second argument, our opponents mentioned that our welfare system is good enough in Taiwan. In fact, this is not correct. The biggest difference of UBI is the indiscriminate payment of money. The purpose of doing UBI is to solve the problems of social welfare not doing well enough. Although Although the unconditional basic income seems to be equal on the surface, it can still help vulnerable groups or families. This basic income is that every citizen receives the same amount, but this amount is different from everyone's original income or property. The proportions are different. For the rich who are worth tens of billions of dollars, or the poor who cannot eat 3 meals a day, the proportions must be different. But the poor can receive a higher proportion of basic income than other regional income or property. The proportions of wealth is lower, and also whether a person who is rich or poor, they are both Taiwanese people, right? They should have their rights. We can't steal someone's rights just because they are rich. And our opponent just said that people will not work hard while we enact UBI, but they don't have any evidence to prove that in Taiwan, if we enact UBI, they won't work harder and they will be lazy, because Taiwan haven't enacted UBI, and we had an evidence from Finland to prove that people won't be lazy while UBI is enacted. Thank you.
So my first question is, your argument mentions that the proportion of invested money can be different based on the rich and poor people. But however, that is not called UBI. UBI means universal basic income, which means people have to have, like, the money should be sent off. How is that in UBI?
The proportion is your feelings. It's not the money of UBI to enact to the people. Yes. I think you are missing our point.
And our topic is unconventional basic.
Yes. And our question is about, you said that it may be because the elders need more money than the youngest people. But do you have any evidence to prove
But
this?
you also
Or
don't
this
have
is
evidence to prove that this is money. You don't have evidence.
yes, we have evidence to prove that, because we are saying the welfare system in Taiwan now, they give more money to the elders, right? And they give less money to the young people. They get 50.8% of money to the elders in now welfare systems, and they just give 5.6% of the money to the younger person in Taiwan. So we just said that the welfare system is better to the elders in Taiwan. And we didn't say that we meant the elders. And that is your thinking, and that is your guessing, right? Because you don't have any evidence.
Saying that the elder people does not need more money.
Because it's dedicated to elder people.
Yes.
Also, it's my next question. So, do you agree that UBI tries to help poverty?
Yes, UBI tries to help.
Okay, so your argument mentions that if inflation happens, a company can actually earn more money, right? But that's a capitalism. That means poor people have to buy more, like spend more money on those companies. So the money transfer from poor people to rich people.
We meant that the UBI will reduce the poverty in Taiwan, because UBI gives every people money. So it will reduce our poverty in Taiwan, because Taiwan have many people who are poor. And UBI gives the money to poor people. We are not saying UBI can produce many goods or what. We didn't say that. We didn't mention that. This is our present time.
Can you explain why the current social welfare system in Taiwan is sufficient and address poverty and income equality?
Yeah, like we already suggest a lot. We suggest some statistics. For example, I mentioned multiple times that the poverty rate in Taiwan is currently very low, and also the welfare system in Taiwan currently can produce $9,000 more compared to the UBI. But however, if we use the UBI policy, we'll have to cancel other welfare systems, considering the cost is too high.
So you suggest to slow the poverty by not to give the rich more the basic income.
We did not say that.
Final focus.
I need prep load.
I need prep time.
How much time?
How much do we have left?
You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay.
So we think we win. We think we win because of our statements, and also there's a lot of flaws in your statements. So first, I think our best argument is that the inflation might happen if the government use the UBI policy and they spend too much money on the citizens. So if everyone gets rich, the money becomes that worthy. So that's why the inflation could happen. And if inflation happens, it is true that the company might earn more money, but however, on the other hand, the poor people have to give more money to those rich people by buying their daily needs. So that's a kind of like transferring money from poor people to rich people, which does not solve the problem. And also, the magnitude of inflation is way bigger because, as I mentioned, there's 99% of people in Taiwan that is not facing poverty, while only 1% of people is facing poverty. So that's 99% versus 1%. We don't want to spend all $2.2 trillion a month to only support that 1% of people. We want to benefit all 99% of the citizens in Taiwan. So, on the perspective of magnitude, inflation is a very important factor to be considered. And also, there's a lot of flaws in their statements. So first, they keep giving false evidences that cannot prove their statement. For example, they've been keep using other countries' example like Finland, but however, that could be a possible way to see what would happen if we use this policy in Taiwan. But however, there are still many different things to consider, like the economy situation, the population, and the culture. And this could affect 99% of people, or even the whole people in Taiwan. So we want to consider this like very careful. So we don't use other countries' example to support the statement that UBI may be good in Taiwan. So we urge you to vote for concise. Thank you.
strongly support that Taiwan should implement UBI based on poverty, culture, saving, and more. These are enough reasons to support implementing UBI in Taiwan. They didn't give evidence in these debates from many times when we are asking them some evidence to prove their point. They also said we think, while they said that the welfare system is good enough. Obviously, they are just their personal opinion. They are guessing. The welfare system in Taiwan has a lot of problems because the welfare system only gives money to some specific groups who are low-income households subsidy and other subsidies. They try to deprive the rights to the rich. Nonetheless, unconditional basic income gives everyone the same money, which is fair. While each country has its unique context, the basic principles behind UBI remain the same. Other countries implementing UBI have sent good feedbacks, and Taiwan should refer to other countries' results of implementing UBI. We must pay some price if we want a good policy and economy growing, and these prices are worth it. In conclusion, UBI is a policy that has a potential to address many of the economic and social problems in Taiwan by reducing poverty and the overwork problems. Furthermore, UBI can improve the economy and create a happier social of everyone. Therefore, we strongly support that the government of Taiwan should enact unconditional basic income. Our arguments are strongly because we can give you a lot of advantage and also solve the problem they mentioned. Thank you.
Alright, so we're going to deliberating, so could you guys kindly
Step aside for a little bit.
step out a bit and then we shall see.
The first speaker was on the side, and the second wasn't that good. The second speaker on the side had a lot of realistic problems. Stomach a lot,
But
hesitated.
we cannot really take that into consideration. It's not a proof like a fluency.
Not fluency, but in terms of expressing the point.
Or
Because, yeah, it's not about promoting fluency, not being the first language, but it doesn't grab the point home. It wasn't there. And also the second, not the last one, was really good in terms of expressing themselves, and, like making eye contact and having those points home. For me, it's basically a time.
a tie,
It's a time.
I would say so, but I will not make it a tie. I would choose it if I can.
I'm not
I
gonna do that.
understand why.
I'm not gonna be unfair.
I understand why you make it a tie, but I'm not gonna make it a tie. There's gonna be something.
It was,
I don't think you can leave it as a tie.
you can't?
You
I
cannot.
don't think so
Really?
because it would mean they would have to, well, low
It's
point
a hard
win,
one.
but a low point win is not a tie.
I know, but because yesterday I also asked a judge.
And they
You
said
did, huh?
no.
They said no time?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's right or not.
But I also don't think a tie makes sense because they still have to go on to another team regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So the winner has to be decided
Sure.
because they don't get to re-debate. You know what I'm saying? If it's a
So
tie.
my tie wouldn't affect anything, would it?
Well, you have to ask. I don't know.
It's hard for real. Like, I don't want to be unfair.
I understand. Me too. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Because they had two under the water debaters and they had two above the water debaters,
yes.
who were
Both
really
in
good.
each team.
Yeah,
in
but
each
also the crossfire was pretty good, I guess. In terms of the way they presented it.
Well, judge the crossfire.
Yeah. Well, just crossfire. Then. Okay. So,
So this girl is the first speaker, Yang Sai Chia. This girl.
Yes. Daniel?
I would just keep writing my comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Have you seen them?
Alright. I see one more.
Right. Oh.
Okay, so who would like to go first and speak to share? Me? Okay, just a few comments. My first comment was, I thought that there was too much focus placed on the elderly, and more focus should have been placed on other aspects of the population, like the younger crowd, the older crowd, the richer crowd, the middle class crowd. Just more segments of the society should have been taken into consideration. Also, documentation, provide documentation for your claims instead of saying it's been documented many times, because that is just your word of mouth. It doesn't prove to me that it's true. What I will say also is allow competitors to complete their thoughts. Now, I know it's very tempting to want to cut the person off and say, no, that's not what I'm saying A, B, C, and D, but still, allowing them to complete their thought creates a better case for you, because now you know completely what they've said, and so it makes so that you're responding to exactly what they said and not what you think they're gonna say if you let them speak. Provide evidence to substantiate your claims always. That always makes your points clearer than just giving guesses and, oh, we see, it's clear that we could see, because it's not clear that we could see. You know, finally, I give it to the team that I think I could follow a bit better as far as their points were concerned. It was very difficult to decide which team did slightly better than the other team, because it was like this most of the time. And so, in that regard, I give it to IDK, the corn teams, just because I think I could have articulated or understood their points a bit more clearer than your team. Thank you.
All right. For my case, it's almost similar to what she just mentioned, but a little bit more. First of all, getting down to the points. Also, actually, the pros of the whole thing. You did a good job with eloquency, trying to express your points and views. It was pretty awesome. There was only a few issues, and the first issue was the sources. Oh, in the beginning, you mentioned the sources, but they went back to time. You're talking about a policy that is gonna happen, or is not happening, or it might happen if it happens for quite a long time. And if you wanna give statistics for this to be implemented or not, you should give those statistics based on time. Like, this is the lake, they say Taiwan doesn't do this, it doesn't have the capability, and this was done or was conducted in this year. But later on, I heard some sources back to the time, which was pretty good, so it was great. There was a challenge with, someone mentioned about Finland as an example, but you didn't elaborate on why do you choose Finland to be an example for Taiwan to implement whatever they have to. I just see you guys mentioning stuff and just leave it there hanging and creating more questions. Then I think with the crossfire, there was also a challenge whereby a question was presented, but one of the speakers wasn't ready for it and it wasn't answered. And I think it's really important as you're working as a team to always be on your guns and just getting a quick response if you can. And that's pretty much it. Language use is really important. We've just been debating about it. And I understand you don't have to be perfect with the language, but at least be able to express yourself, because I know you knew about this quite some time back. And you might want to express yourself in the simplest language you can, but quite clear. Some of the speakers want driving the point home because there's a bit of a mishap with expressing themselves linguistically. So that is a point. I'm not saying you should be perfect with the language, but at least you should be able to, whatever language you use, but as simple as you can, but try to drive the point home. Really, really important. And my last point would be, I just mentioned already, elaborating your points and use the time you have to focus more on your points and attacking the opponent. Because it looks like the moment you come in, you go into attacking the opponent and showing their flaws and everything. And I think you're using that time to back yourself up Like I mentioned this and this and this and this, and I think this is the reason we should be doing this, or this is the reason we shouldn't be doing this. And for that reason, and maybe the opponents didn't mention this, so we're doing it and stuff like that. So that's really, really important. So it was a tight race for me, almost the same weight in points, but I will go with East Apple for a better conclusion and summary, and you take my vote. Thank you.
Hello everyone. It's the second day, and I think everyone has done a good job. You're a high school student, and you need to debate this complex topic in English. I think that's very hard. So today you bring up a lot of points, and I understand maybe you don't have enough time to express every point, so clearly with a lot of information. So my judgment will based on like what I can receive the information. I think so. Today, forum teams bring 3 key points. The first one is the properties issue, and this one at the very beginning it has the evidence have conflict into both sides because the forum teams also in the beginning bring up that property rate has been decreasing in Taiwan, so it's not a problem, and you even say about that only 1% people. Okay, so it's conflict with the promptings that you say property is keeping increasing, but no one challenges each other's evidence. So I'm not so sure if property's property is become like a greater or not. But anyway, there are some property people for sure. Then to the second point, is the welfare system enough nowadays? That prompting said that some people cannot get it, like young people 5% only in the welfare, and being challenged by IDK that so what? 5 people for young people, maybe that because most of the old people need it more. Okay, I like this challenge, and I think it's good logic that maybe it's 5% for a reason, maybe because there's not many young people need 5%. However, I think the way you express it, instead of saying that maybe old people need it more, I would like it to be like maybe because young people don't need it. Because even old people need it more. That doesn't mean young people don't need it. It just means everyone needs it, and the welfare is not doing well now. Okay, so, but the second one is some people they cannot apply for it because they have a low income, but maybe they have like a house. So I know that in Taiwan, in that case, you cannot sell a house because you need a place to live, but at the same time, you are really low income people, so you cannot apply the money. And I think this is a more strong point that you can express it more in the whole debate, because this was not, it wasn't being challenged by Peng. So there are certain people that cannot use in the current systems. And then to the third point, I'm not so sure, that you say UBI according to some statements and evidence that can get more job and can make the economic better. And this point, in my opinion, that not really be challenged so well by content because the challenge you have two. One is that to challenge evidence that finance information cannot be used. And for me, indeed, I'm not so sure what's finance system, how it can compare to Taiwan's situation. But also, I think it's home teams. It's kind of like your responsibility to say why you think that's not, it cannot be matched. Maybe you can challenge like how much money you give. Maybe you can even challenge like what's the money the UBI get from in Finland? Because according to your key point that the cost is so high, 2.2 trillion, Taiwan cannot afford. But you never challenge pointing like where's the money come from, right? If I remember it correct, even now I don't know like on the prompting system how are they going to get money? Increasing tax, or to print money, or to increasing debt. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe it's I'm missing the point, but I don't think that was be discussed so a lot. But I think this point should be advantage for the prompting. So today I vote for prompting because I don't really know what's the financial problem of 2.2 trillion, and the inflation issue, it's kind of like a, I know you try to prove inflation and inflation will exist, but not so sure like the impact of that. Especially when Promptings mentioned about that they can increase in job and they can have a better economic. Then how are we going to compare the price for that? Like a higher inflation, but maybe a better economic. Is that bad? I'm not so sure about that. But what I can agree is that there are certain amount of people that will be missing by the current welfare, and we take care of them. Also, one point to bring up that IDK mentioned about 90,000 per month NTD for the poor people, for some property people. I think if you can like express these points more to say how are you going to actually take care of people, and maybe you can adjust your welfare system that so there won't be some people that has low income but have a house. Then maybe government can use some way to take care of them. If you can compare in the poor people's group, then I think in my judge the benefit of UBI will really not exist. Thank you.
Very nice. We're moving to Pier 2. Are you staying here?
Oh, no, I finished my.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah.
All right, okay, so heading out.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Very nice. Are you a teacher?
No, I'm not. I attend the Chinese UBI.
Oh, nice. So cool stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry.